What's up, mansion builders? Today I want to talk to you about my personal path to 8-figure net worth in assisted living. And I got into this entrepreneurship game about 10 years ago in my early 30s, and I got hooked. I got excited about it. My mind expanded, and I was like, oh my gosh, the possibilities are endless, right? Like I got this bug that said I can do anything that I wanted, right? If I just put my mind to it, I know I can do this. And I didn't grow up thinking that way, right? I had this epiphany. And I got super excited about this. And honestly, I am compelled. I feel like I'm drawn to this. And I know some of you feel the same way, right? It's not really about the money. It's about the game. For me, it's like, how can I build something amazing? How big can I build something great? How can I create something that makes a difference? And I know some of you are like that same way. And for me, I tried a bunch of different things, right? I got into mobile home investing first, right? And I was buying these crappy little mobile homes and fixing them up and selling them on lease-to-own payments. And I'm like, man, I can do, hundreds of these, right? And have cash flow and all this kind of stuff. I hated that. That didn't work for me. All right. Then I got into flipping and wholesaling. And I did that for, like 8 years ago or 8 years. I wind that business down a few years ago. But we bought, a couple hundred houses and did really, really well there. But I did not see a path to really scale and do something really, really big. The market just ups and downs and everything it's always a moving target with the flipping game. The rental game, I got into that. We still have a bunch of rental properties, but man, I'm selling them off because they're a real pain in the butt, right? Like we were in California and it was like, oh man, the legal system there, the evictions, the COVID through rentals, and it was just a horrible mess. And so I don't see a path to having hundreds of rental properties. So I've tried all these different things. I was thinking, I see everyone doing apartments, right? Maybe I should get into the apartment game. I started buying small multifamily stuff, but I'm seeing how long it takes, right? So many deals. You have, 10, 15% equity in some deal, and you have to have, so many deals. You have to have 1,000 doors in order to, have a substantial net worth. I'm like, man, that just seems like not a great effective path. And so I want to share the path that I have to do just one big deal and have an 8-figure net worth. And I'll unpack that over the next few minutes. Really my personal story of myself and Laura growing our business and our net worth. So about 8 or 9 years ago, I heard about RALs, right? That's residential assisted living. And I was also at the same time doing a room and board, and I was taking care of people in a smaller home-like environment. I'm like, okay, that seems very similar, right? Maybe this is something I can pursue. So I got educated on it. I paid for one of those gurus to teach me. I started seeing the holes in it, right? I wasn't really, honestly, totally sold on it because I'm like, I just don't see the math. I don't see the numbers. I don't see how I can really scale this and not be trapped in my business. And so we slow played it. Actually, it was a couple years of just kind of casually looking into it. Just wasn't making the connection there. But as we started to get more and more educated on it, I realized that we had to do a bigger deal. We had to do 16 beds. So Laura and I jumped in. We actually moved from California to Texas, bought a property. It was a 1974 ranch house, single story. It was like 3,500 square feet. And we gutted the thing. And we added about another 3,000 square feet. So this is the property we have on Mesa. This is Platinum Resort. It happens to be 15 private rooms, and it's a gorgeous, gorgeous building. And what we were thinking is we were going to do a super RAL. That's really kind of the idea we had in mind, right? This is before we were thinking about building mansions. So we're like, hey, you know what? We see these people doing RALs, but they're not doing a great job, right? They're not really making much cash flow. It's not really a great product. It's fine. It's good. But we can do a super RAL. It was kind of the internal lingo we had, right? Because it'll be bigger and it'll be beautiful, and we'll be able to use our flipping and construction business skills to be able to do this. And so we built this, right? We built this in Mesa in Georgetown. And you can actually do a virtual walkthrough if you want to see this product on our website, platinumresortassistedliving.com. So we built this, we licensed it, we hired our first manager, we started bringing in our grandmas. And another really important lesson that I learned was outside services. This is what my first manager taught myself and Laura, how to use the people in the industry, the other professionals, to offer all of the care and services that the big facilities offer. So I went into this thinking, I'm going to be a super RAL, right? I'm still just going to do ADLs, lighter levels of care, and I'll just have a bigger building. What she taught me was that I don't have to be just a super RAL. I can actually do more than that. We can specialize in memory care. we can bring in the home health, the hospice, the chaplains, the shower aides, the doctors and nurses that are coming on a weekly rotation. We can do a barber, we can have a salon, we can have a podiatrist and a mobile dentist and mobile vaccines and all of the things. Every single thing that you would want when you go to a big smelly facility, we can do in our home. And then it clicked for me, right? We are not an RAL. We're not even a super RAL. We are something different. We're something better. And honestly, it's because I can now offer all of the same care that the big facilities can, right? I have a private room, I have private baths, I have a chef, I have a salon, and I can offer all of these medical and memory care services. So now I'm like, wow, okay, I'm way superior to all of these dinky little RALs around, and nobody wants to be in the big smelly facilities. So what does this mean for me? I'm actually better than them. I'm the best in my market. So I had this light bulb that it went off, and I'm like, okay, we need to raise our prices. So over the next year or so, we went from making $25K to 30 to mid 30s to pushing around $40,000 a month. And we have keeping this model consistent. It's been almost 5 years, right? Where we're making about 40 grand a month net profit from our assisted living on Mesa. Then, like any good businessman, I'm thinking to myself, how can I scale this? And I'm standing in the front yard one morning at Mesa, and I'm looking at our building, and then I look at the next door neighbor, and I think to myself, man, what if I can buy that house? What if I can buy that house, gut it, and build another mansion over there? And then I look to the other side. I'm like, what if I buy that next door neighbor's house too, right? And what about that one over there? And I think to myself, man, if I could just buy this street and start having my own little street with all of these assisted living mansions right here on the same street, that would be awesome. And then I realized, well, that's not really going to happen, right? They're not even for sale. These lots, it's not even going to fit. I can't make that work. But what if I built my own little neighborhood of mansions, right? And then I started going down this path of how can I build out my own little neighborhood of these custom built mansions that are perfect for end of life care and memory care, and they're gorgeous and they just don't look like smelly facilities. I spent about a year trying to find the right piece of property. It was actually my fourth try, right? We were in escrow 3 different times and it didn't make it through due diligence. So the 4th time, we ended up buying about 8 acres here in Georgetown, Texas, and we're building 4 mansions on this project. And if you want to follow along now, we're nearly done with our first 2 mansions. You can actually see it on our social media channels there. But we build new construction, really gorgeous, huge, elaborate buildings, right? Each of them are 10,000 square feet. They're all 16 private rooms with private baths. They're about 330 square feet per bedroom. We have a library. We have like 20-foot high vaulted window walls. Just so gorgeous. There's a chef, there's a salon, all of these things in each of the mansions, right? So 2 of these are nearly done now, and that's what we're doing in phase 1. Phase 2 will come back and build 2 more of these mansions. So this really allowed me to have economy of scale, because now I have multiple managers. They're right next door to each other. When one chef calls in sick, I have another chef right next door. I have overflow of care. And that was really a priority for me to pull myself and Laura out of the day-to-day. How do I provide extra insulation? How do I be able to share some of these costs between management and marketing dollars and all of these things? So I want to share with you a little bit about the numbers of what this looked like on this project. In phase 1, we bought the land, we did all of the infrastructure, and we built 2 mansions. So it's about $8 million total. Each mansion, the build was about $2 million, and then there was the land cost and then the infrastructure. We actually did a lot of infrastructure. There was not much utilities on this project. We had to bring in our own private fire hydrants and water sources and do this huge road around the whole thing and grade it and do detention ponds and all that kind of stuff. But we had to do that for the entire project, phase 1 and phase 2. So really, my phase 1 budget is actually 2/3 of my total budget. So $8 million went into phase 1. I have my appraisal back on phase 1 at $13 million. Right? So I'm building with a ton of equity in this. So that's my phase 1. My phase 2 will come back, just build 2 extra mansions. So in about an extra $4 million there. So I'll be total development cost about $12 million into this project, with a $25 million valuation. So Laura and myself, we will operate these for the next 5 or 10 years. And really, we're looking for about a $30 million sale price. And we'll have 2 different things. We'll have the real estate, and then we'll also have the businesses. So we'll have 4 separate businesses on this land. And we'll sell both of them together for about 30 million in the next 5 or so years. So that's just the real estate side, right? Then there's the cash flow. That's what's awesome about this opportunity. You have huge monthly and yearly cash flow that comes in on top of the long-term equity and real estate play that we're building at almost 50% value. So for us, we've, for the last few years, made about 400 to 500 grand per year from our first project on Mesa. You combine Mesa with phase one on our new project, and Laura and myself will net a little over $1 million per year from those 3 mansions. And we'll run that for the next probably 2 or so years. In the meantime, we'll be building out phase 2. So when we have phase 2, we'll have 80 total beds here in Georgetown, 5 total mansions, and net somewhere between 1.5, 1.7 per year in cash flow, not including the real estate. So our exit play is somewhere between 5 and 7 years from now. We'll go and we'll sell both sides of the businesses, the real estate sides and the operations company side. And we'll look for somewhere between 30 and 35 million between all 5 of the mansions. And so we have about $13 million in debt between all 5 of these, and selling for, way more than double that. So even after we pay off our investor partners their share of it, Laura and myself are actually pretty substantially above the 8-figure mark just on the exit play, right? That's not counting the $1 to $1.5 million per year over the next 5 to 7 years that we're going to put in our pocket as we're going through and really enjoying what we do, right? It's hard work, but this is a great, great business that makes a huge difference. So I'm sharing all this with you not to be boastful or brag about this kind of stuff. Really, I don't think money is that important. I don't spend a ton of money. I'm kind of a not very fancy guy. But I think that the money is a scoreboard. It's a result of how well you're playing the game. And really, I love playing the game. I want to build something amazing. It's my challenge to myself. What can I build? How great can it be? How can this make a difference in my local community and even among the world? And I know some of you guys are like that. You are trying to find an opportunity that you can make a difference, that you can take care of your family, that you can do a huge deal, that you can get to 8-figure net worth yourselves. So I hope that this is inspiring to you, that you can get out there, you can take massive action, you can get uncomfortable and do a one big life-changing deal.